Howdy folks, and welcome back to the Slow Dusk channel. In today's video, we're heading into the 1940s era of Western cinema, which was an incredibly transformative decade for the genre. This was a period shaped by war, recovery, and reflection, and the Westerns of the 1940s mirrored that complexity with deeper characters, moral ambiguity, and increasingly sophisticated storytelling. While the 1930s laid the groundwork, the 1940s saw the Western genre maturing into something richer and more resonant. Filmmakers began experimenting with tone and theme, introducing darker anti-heroes and tackling weightier ideas like justice, vengeance, and redemption. It was also a decade that solidified the careers of legends like John Wayne, Henry Fonda, and director John Ford. So, strap yourselves in and join us as we explore 10 of the best Western movies from the 1940s. Films that helped shape the Western into a genre of true cinematic depth. We start our countdown with a somber and powerful film, The Oxbow Incident, directed by William A. Wellman. This isn't your typical shoot-'em-up Western. It's a moral drama that takes aim at mob justice and the dangers of blind vengeance. Henry Fonda stars as a drifter who, along with a group of townsfolk, gets swept up in a posse hunting down suspected cattle rustlers. What makes the Oxbow Incident so striking is its restraint. The film takes place over the course of a single day and unfolds mostly through conversation and moral debate. There's very little gunplay, but the tension is razor sharp. It's a haunting meditation on justice gone wrong, and its message is just as relevant today as it was in the 40s. It wasn't a box office smash at the time, but it gained recognition over the years as one of the first adult westerns, a genre entry that asks more questions than it answers. In ninth place is John Ford's poetic retelling of the gunfight at the OK Corral, My Darling Clementine. Henry Fonda takes on the role of Wyatt Earp, a quiet but determined lawman who rides into Tombstone and becomes embroiled in a feud with the Clanton gang. But Ford isn't interested in a straight historical account. This is a mythic, elegiac vision of the West, a place of sunsets, solitude, and slow-burning tension. The film's strength lies in its mood and atmosphere. Fonda's Earp is less of a gunslinger and more of a reluctant protector, while Victor Mature delivers a memorable turn as the doomed Doc Holliday, equal parts arrogant and tragic. With its beautiful black and white cinematography, slow pacing, and philosophical undertones, My Darling Clementine stands as one of Ford's most artful works. In eighth place is Howard Hawks' sweeping cattle drive epic, Red River. This was a major moment for John Wayne, who takes a darker turn here as Tom Dunson, a tyrannical rancher determined to lead his herd to Missouri, no matter the cost. Opposite him is Montgomery Clift, in his film debut, playing Dunson's adopted son, who eventually challenges his authority. Red River is more than just a Western. It's a Shakespearean father-son conflict played out on the open plains. Hawks balances thrilling action with character depth, and the stark cinematography captures the hardship of frontier life. John Wayne's performance here showed a whole new side of his acting range. Intense, brooding, and morally conflicted. It's one of his most powerful roles. Seventh on our list is the first entry in John Ford's legendary cavalry trilogy, Fort Apache. Set in a remote army outpost, this film stars John Wayne as Captain Kirby York and Henry Fonda as the proud and rigid Colonel Thursday. The two clash over how to handle relations with the local Apache tribe, leading to a tragic showdown. What makes Fort Apache so compelling is its nuanced portrayal of military arrogance and cultural misunderstanding. Fonda's Thursday is based loosely on General Custer, and the film ultimately critiques the blind ambition that often drove U.S. policy in the West. It's one of the first Westerns to portray Native Americans with a degree of empathy, a small but important step in reshaping how the genre treated indigenous characters. Taking the sixth spot is Yellow Sky, a gripping and visually stunning Western directed by William A. Wellman. This film stars Gregory Peck as Stretch Dawson, the leader of a gang of outlaws who stumble upon a ghost town while on the run from a bank robbery. What they find there is unexpected. An old prospector and his tough-as-nails granddaughter, played by Ann Baxter, guarding a hidden cache of gold. What follows is a tense and atmospheric showdown between greed and morality. As the gang begins to turn on each other, Peck's character is slowly forced to confront his own conscience and choose between fortune and redemption. Shot in stark black and white against the desolate backdrop of Death Valley, Yellow Sky has an almost noir-like quality. The scorching desert, the moral ambiguity, and the psychological tension all combine to create a Western that feels stripped down and elemental. Peck brings a quiet intensity to the role, while Anne Baxter holds her own as a frontier woman who's as smart and capable as any gunslinger. The film explores themes of temptation, trust, and transformation, proving that even in the harshest of places, there's still room for redemption. For its atmospheric visuals, strong performances, and compelling character dynamics, Yellow Sky is a standout Western of the 1940s that deserves far more recognition than it often gets. At number 5, we have Raoul Walsh's stylized and romanticized biopic, They Died with Their Boots On. Errol Flynn stars as General George Armstrong Custer in a role that plays fast and loose with history, but captures the mythic energy of the frontier. Olivia de Havilland once again plays opposite Flynn, bringing emotional depth to the story. This is classic Hollywood spectacle. Sweeping score, colorful costumes, and larger-than-life characters. It's not a history lesson, but it is an entertaining and emotionally charged tribute to an era of bold ambition and reckless valor. Flynn's charisma carries the film, and the climactic battle of the Little Bighorn is as grand and tragic as anything the genre has offered. Fourth place goes to The Westerner, a unique and memorable entry from director William Wyler. Gary Cooper stars as a drifter caught in a battle between homesteaders and cattle barons. But the standout here is Walter Brennan, who delivers an Oscar-winning performance as Judge Roy Bean, the self-proclaimed law west of the Pecos. Bean is equal parts comic relief and dangerous despot, and Brennan plays him with gleeful unpredictability. The Westerner blends morality, humor, and suspense in a way that few Westerns do. It's a character-driven tale that explores justice in a land where law is often whatever the loudest man says it is. It's funny, it's smart, and it's anchored by two great performances from Cooper and Brennan. In third place is Pursued, one of the earliest examples of a psychological Western. Directed by Raoul Walsh, the film stars Robert Mitchum as Jeb Rand, a man haunted by childhood trauma and caught in a deadly family feud. Shot like a noir with dramatic shadows and expressionist lighting, Pursued dives deep into themes of memory, identity, and destiny. This isn't your sunny frontier tale. It's moody, brooding, and steeped in fatalism. Mitchum's performance is restrained and powerful, and the film's structure, yet with flashbacks and internal monologue, feels far ahead of its time. It's a haunting story about a man trying to escape a fate he never asked for. Second on our list is the second film in Ford's Cavalry trilogy, She Wore a Yellow Ribbon. This is John Wayne as you've never seen him. Older, wearier, and full of melancholy. He plays Captain Nathan Brittles, a veteran cavalry officer facing retirement, while trying to prevent an outbreak of war with native tribes. Shot in glorious Technicolor in Monument Valley, the film is visually stunning, with deep reds, golds, and endless horizons. But it's Wayne's performance that truly carries the film. There's a sense of longing and reflection in his portrayal that adds emotional weight to what could have been a standard military Western. It's about duty, legacy, and riding off into the sunset with grace. And at number 1, we're going with a film that may not have the epic scope of a cavalry charge or the noir grit of a desert showdown. But it's got heart, soul, and a deeply human story at its core. Angel and the Badman, directed by James Edward Grant. This was a different kind of Western for John Wayne, one where he trades blazing saddles for quiet introspection. He plays Quirt Evans, a wounded gunslinger taken in by a gentle Quaker family after collapsing on their land. As he recovers, he forms a bond with Penelope, played by Gail Russell, whose kindness and pacifist beliefs slowly challenge everything he's ever known. There are gunfights, yes, but the real conflict is internal. It's about a man struggling to leave behind violence and forge a new path. Wayne gives a surprisingly nuanced performance, balancing his trademark grit with vulnerability and restraint. Gail Russell, meanwhile, brings warmth and quiet strength to her role, creating one of the most compelling romantic pairings in 1940s Western cinema. Angel and the Badman stands out because it dares to ask whether a man defined by violence can truly change. It's a story of redemption, grace, and the soft power of compassion. And in a decade full of moral ambiguity and hard-edged heroes, this film offered something refreshingly hopeful. It may not shout as loud as some of its peers, but it speaks volumes. For its emotional depth, memorable performances, and the way it softened the silhouette of the Western outlaw, Angel and the Badman rides tall at the top of our list. And there you have it, 10 of the best Western films from the 1940s. From somber morality tales to sweeping cavalry epics, this decade pushed the genre into new emotional and philosophical territory. The Westerns of the 1940s weren't just about heroes and villains. They were about conscience, consequence, and the ever-blurring line between right and wrong. They laid the foundation for the gritty revisionism of the 1950s and 60s, and they still hold up beautifully today. Which 1940s Western is your favorite? Let us know in the comments. And if you enjoyed this roundup, be sure to like, subscribe, and ring that notification bell so you don't miss our next journey into the heart of Western cinema. Until next time, this is Slow Dusk, signing off.